So this is Emily Clark. I'm the training coordinator at Quasi, and we just kind of wanted to give an informal kind of a webinar to go over the information that went out to NFIE participants at the beginning of the week, and kind of provide an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have at this time, because I know it's been a little confusing up until this point. I have muted participant phone lines to help cut down on the background noise. I was hearing some echoing, so I think this will help. If you do have a question, you can type it into the chat box at any time, and maybe at the end of the webinar we can try to open phone lines up, although it does look like only a couple people are connected through the phone. So anyway, thank you for taking the time to be here, to be on this call today, and hopefully you'll find it helpful. So this is an overview of the webinar. We're just going to quickly kind of go over who's who in the NFIE, and I will introduce you to the course coordinators. We have them on the call. Fernando Salas, one of the course coordinators, is going to give a bootcamp overview and talk about the team and project formation that will happen during the bootcamp. And then I'm going to kind of go over the logistical information that went out in the participant information guide at the beginning of the week, and then we can take questions. But feel free to type any questions into the chat box at any time. And course coordinators, feel free to chime in at any point as well. So this is kind of an informal presentation. So the first thing I wanted to go over was something that came out of the NFIE spring meeting that we had in March in Tuscaloosa, and that was the formation of NFIE theme leaders. So these are the people that are going to be responsible for helping to shape the themes for the Summer Institute. So for hydrology, we have Siggy Cohen from the University of Alabama. For hydraulics, we have Jim Nelson from Brigham Young University. For uncertainty, we have David Maidment from the University of Texas at Austin. And for emergency response, it's Barbara Minsker at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. So they're going to be helping to develop project ideas within those themes and make sure that the necessary resources are available to support the projects. So next I want to go ahead and introduce the course coordinators. The course coordinators are on the line. If you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about your involvement with the NFIE. Fernando, we can start with you.
Sure. Okay, so I'm Fernando Salas, and I'm finishing up my PhD at the University of Texas at Austin. And I've been working with David Maidment for 7 years now, and over this past year have been helping develop the technical framework for the National Flood Interoperability Experiment. So in general, my research is based in the application of GIS to surface water hydrology and modeling, specifically during flood and drought events.
I'm Siggy Cohen from the University of Alabama. I'm an assistant professor at the geography department. I'll be the one of the faculty in residence during the Summer Institute, so I'll be around the whole summer. I'm also, as you saw, the team leader for hydrology. So myself and Jim Nelson have proposed a number of projects that, as Fernando will describe, you guys can tap into. Anyway, I'll be around to help you with your research, help you with your, administrative problems. So just be around during that Summer Institute.
I'm Joseph Guttenson. I'm a graduate assistant at the University of Alabama. I guess my main interests with the NFIE are in the response side of things. I tend to have a bad habit of dabbling with a bunch of different things, but I'm very interested in how we can better calculate damage associated with floods, but also I have a lot of interest in the hydrology and hydraulic aspects of flood estimation. So I am very excited to meet everybody, and I'm sure I'm going to learn as much as you all are through this Summer Institute.
I'm Sarah Praskiewicz. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Geography here at the University of Alabama. I am faculty in residence for the NFIE Summer Institute, and I will be working with some of the projects along the hydraulics theme, advising on some of those project teams. And I'm also the on-site logistics person, so helping out with housing and transportation and all those kinds of fun things as well. My research is mostly focused on impacts of climate change on water resources through hydrologic and geomorphic modeling.
Okay, great. So thank you very much, course coordinators. So these are the folks that are going to be on site and kind of moving the Summer Institute along. So thank you for introducing yourself. So Fernando, if you want to talk about the boot camp overview, you can take it away.
Okay. All right. So this is going to essentially go over some of the information that was sent out in the letter a couple days ago. So I'll start by talking about the project teams. So everyone that's participating in NFIE will be part of a team, and that'll range, I don't know, from 3 to 5 participants, maybe more, maybe less, depending if there's a good reason for it. But the idea is everyone will develop a scope of project early within the first 2 weeks of the Summer Institute, and then work on executing a project plan over the next 7 weeks, and then presenting the results at the capstone event in the middle of July. So we kind of want to form teams somewhat organically, but then also provide some structure for how we do that. So you can expect in the next week or two a Google Doc to be shared with you that'll have a list of potential projects as we see them. So we'll provide a list for every single theme, some projects that you could work on if you're interested in it. If you don't see a project that you like, then you're welcome to add your own project to that document as well. And we ask that all of you on that spreadsheet input your top 2 or 3 projects, and in that way we'll kind of group everyone together based on the projects they want to work on and their interests. Now, when we get to Tuscaloosa, those first 2 or 3 days of the boot camp, we'll split everyone up into different groups based on the projects that you want to work on, and we'll start evolving some of those project ideas in more detail. So, let's say if we get 12 people interested in working on one project, well, we'll end up breaking that group of people up into 2 or 3 teams. Similarly, if we only have interest from 2 people to work on one project, then we'll link them into a bigger project group and then try to evolve the project idea from there. Now, one thing we don't want is, from 4 to 5 people from the same institution to all come together and work on a project. This is an opportunity to collaborate with people from all across the country and the world, and learn from different type of research that's going on across institutions. And so we'll certainly try to spread or form the teams in a way that keeps it diverse in institution and then also in skill level. So anyway, that initial Google Doc will provide a basis for how we can form our project teams, and then we'll kind of go from there those first 2 or 3 days of the boot camp. Let's see. So yeah, on this Google Doc, you can expect kind of the title of a project, a brief description, and 2 or 3 sentences, and then it'll list one or either the theme that this project is related to or a second theme that potentially has a link to that project. So that's kind of what we're thinking about the project teams themselves. Again, the projects will fall into the 4 major themes that were presented earlier: hydrology, hydraulics, uncertainty, and response. Although if 4 people want to work on a project that kind of crosses between hydrology and hydraulics, that's perfectly fine as well. Now, one thing you can expect when you get to Tuscaloosa is that we'll have 2 operational models that will be running behind the scenes for the whole country. So one of them will be based on the high-resolution rapid refresh model that will be fed into the WRF Hydro framework, where the NOAA MP land surface model will be run, and then that will be tied into the rapid river routing model. Now, this is all running at the national scale, and it's going to be providing a 15-hour forecast that is updated every hour for every single NHD plus river reach in the country. So that's 2.67 million reaches. You'll also have a model running that's taking the land surface model from the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecast, and it'll be hooking the output of that to the rapid river routing model, and that provides a 15-day ensemble forecast that'll be updated every day, again, for all the river reaches in the U.S. So you can take that as a baseline information that you guys will have access to if you want to start evaluating, the accuracy of the forecasts themselves, or trying to improve these processes. There's obviously a lot of assumptions that are made when putting this together. So, if we see that in small catchments or basins that we're not doing a good job, then we can look into why that is and try to make that better. But then again, if you want to work on, another flood-related topic, then that's perfectly fine as well. So we all want to, put this all into the context of the whole National Flood Interoperability experiment. Okay, so during the first 2 weeks, we're going to have a boot camp, and essentially the goal of this is to bring everyone up to the same level in knowledge base. Now obviously everyone has different skills and everything, but at least this will be, a point of departure for everyone. Some anticipated topics would be, just general information about the Water Center and kind of the vision for it, and how, the idea is to integrate resources across agencies to solve a lot of the nation's water problems. We'll talk about the NFIE, of course, and the conceptual model and technical framework for it. We'll have some representatives from Esri providing access to different ArcGIS tools and services. So they have a bunch of data available on their servers that could be relevant to your projects, and so we'll teach how to access that information. We'll learn about the National Incident Management System, which is how emergency response kind of organizes itself whenever there's a flood event. We'll learn about the different models, so the high-resolution rapid refresh model. We'll learn about WRF Hydro and how to run the different land surface models that are contained within it. We'll learn about the rapid model. We'll learn about the Global Flood Awareness System, which is essentially the system that the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecast operates. We'll learn about Tethys and how to develop different web apps pertaining to hydrology and flooding. We'll learn about Azure and the whole cloud environment. We'll do some software carpentry, Quasi-HIS and HydroShare, and then also some tools from the Earth System Modeling Framework organization. So these are just a list of potential topics. It may change a little bit. We may add some more things to it as well. We'll also kind of be framing this around a case study, which is Hurricane Ivan, which happened in September 2004 and really affected a large part of the eastern coast, specifically the Mobile, Alabama river system. So hopefully we'll show some results of that hurricane and the impact it had on the ground. And again, this is all just to provide a point of departure for everyone and get everyone on the same page so we can tackle our projects more efficiently. During the boot camp, we'll also try to do have some field trips. So we'll go hopefully visit the fire station and some of the emergency operations centers, and learn about how they respond to these type of events, and discuss with them what kind of information would be useful to improve their response, and how we can make the response more proactive. We'll hopefully do some field work and do some measurements along cross-section, and then perhaps visit the Army Corps of Engineer flood control flood control structures in the area. So, the whole boot camp, we want to mix a whole bunch of different activities. We want to do a lot of team building. We want to provide some lectures. We want to do some workshops to give you guys hands-on training, and we want to also have some field trips to mix it all up. So this is just a snapshot of a preliminary schedule that we had put together, but this is definitely going to change. So again, yeah, we just want to mix a lot of the activities, but you can definitely expect for those first 2 weeks, we'll have full days, from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. And again, yeah, that'll run 2 weeks long, and then within these 2 weeks, we'll have a lot of team building activities and opportunities for you to discuss with your team the projects that you're going to work on for the duration of the 7 weeks. So again, you can probably expect that you'll have a finalized project team by the Wednesday of that first week. And so that'll give us a couple days to take the information from the Google Doc and then allow you guys to interact with each other and exchange ideas to formulate project teams in that way. For the rest of the 7 weeks, what you can expect essentially is a pretty loose structure for how you guys work together. The Water Center itself is open, I think, from like 7 till 5 or 6 in the afternoon, so you can't work there late at night, but you can obviously work on the University of Alabama campus if you want to. But within your project teams, I'm sure you guys will figure out how best to operate and when you need to be together in the same room or when you can do work individually. We won't really have many constraints on that. Whatever works best for your team works for us. For the week 3 and week 4, we will encourage that you guys all meet regularly, either in the morning or late morning, kind of short 15, 20-minute Scrum meetings to just talk about the goals for that day or any obstacles that you've encountered. In weeks 5 and 6, if once you guys got a good plan going, then you guys can meet how often or not often as you'd like. And then you can always expect, we're going to reserve time after lunch every day for potential lecture or activity time. This doesn't mean we're actually going to use it. It could just be work time. But if, a bunch of different project teams want to learn more about a specific data set or process, then we'll do our best to either provide a lecture or get someone down to Tuscaloosa to help you guys out. And we'll just kind of keep it impromptu. But we'll keep this time open just for that. And then every Friday, we are going to have an all-hands meeting. So everyone that's participating in NFIE would call in together, and all the project teams would be expected to provide a short update on what they're working on. And this will allow you to get feedback from everyone that's either in Tuscaloosa or back at their home institutions. Your advisors can log in and join the call as well. And yeah, we just want it to be kind of a way to collect feedback. So that's kind of what you can expect. And yeah, that's about all I have to say. Did I miss anything?
I know Caleb has a question that he wrote in the chat box.
Okay. So the question is, let's see.
So the question, just for anyone that may be listening but not dialed in to the meeting space, is for those of us participating in NFIE as visiting scholars, we had to write proposals detailing the work we intend to pursue. How are we going to be integrated into the NFIE teams and the boot camp? So Fernando, can you answer that question?
Sure. So again, we would like this Google Doc to be a point of departure for how these project teams are going to be formed. So if the projects that are listed doesn't line up with what you had originally proposed, then feel free to add that to that document. And perhaps in that way you could get other people that are interested in the same thing to work with you on that project. Now, during the first few days of the boot camp, we're going to split up into groups based on the projects that you all expressed interest on and evolve those project ideas and develop plans for that. So over the course of those 2 weeks, once you have your project team picked, which again, by the Wednesday of the first week, those 2 weeks we can spend time evolving those project plans and integrating different people's ideas together. So that's kind of how I see it working out. It's, kind of organic, but we really want to give you guys the opportunity to interact with each other to figure out the projects you'll work on, instead of just saying, hey, this is the project that we think you should work on, go work on this. So it's going to evolve over the course of the boot camp. And so, yeah. Does that answer your question sufficiently?
Okay, thanks, Fernando. There's another question that came in from Madeline. How soon will you have the list of projects up on Google Docs?
You could probably expect that within, at most, probably 2 weeks from now, I would say, probably for sure by middle of May.
So we'll send that out to the participants via email then, I expect?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Caleb says that yes, that does answer his question, so thank you. So if anyone has any other questions that they think of about kind of the boot camp or the Summer Institute, project formation, teams, anything like that, feel free to enter them into the chat box. But I'm going to go ahead and start talking about participant information and that document that was sent around earlier this week. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about are travel instructions. So you will be receiving a travel authorization from the Quasi Business Manager. So the email address is busmgr@quasi.org. And this is kind of your official form that authorizes you to travel through Quasi as an authorized traveler through Quasi. It's also going to give you instructions about how to book the travel in compliance with the Quasi travel policy. Now I know we had said that those forms were going to come out, mid-April, but the process of securing the funding, having the funding actually transferred to Quasi for the NFIE has taken a little bit longer than we expected. So the funding has been approved. It's just kind of basically, caught up in a chain. It needs some more signatures, and Quasi doesn't have the funds in hand yet. So we expect that process to be completed towards the end of this week, and we expect to be able to issue those travel authorizations at the beginning of the week, but we would really prefer that you refrain from booking the travel until you've actually received those travel authorization forms from Quasi. And so again, we apologize for the delay in getting those forms out to you. I know everyone has been concerned about booking their travel in a timely manner, and we appreciate that, but they should be coming soon, and then that would clear you to go ahead and make your travel reservations. So again, the travel will need to comply with Quasi's travel policy, and if you haven't done so already, the travel policy is posted on the Quasi website. I'm going to put the link into the chat box here. So take a look at that and just kind of, make sure that you understand it. This is kind of the general travel policy, and you'll get more specific instructions when your travel authorization comes out. And for those of you that are going to be having to fly into Birmingham in order to get to Tuscaloosa, you are going to fly into the Birmingham Shuttlesworth International Airport. That is about an hour away, unless maybe Andy or Sarah can say whether or not there's another flight path that might make sense. Or if that's the best one. we are going to be coordinating shuttles from Birmingham Shuttlesworth, so that would be the best place to fly into if you're going to fly. We will, or Quasi will reimburse mileage. This probably is for domestic participants. If you would prefer to drive to Tuscaloosa so that you could have your car on campus, we would reimburse the mileage up to the cost of your round-trip airfare. So basically, if if it would work out, if the mileage would work out being more expensive than it is to fly, we would, reimburse you up to the cost of a round-trip airline ticket. So at this time, I don't have information about parking on campus, the cost of parking, but we could certainly look into that and discuss that with anyone that thinks that they may be driving. And Sarah or Andy, maybe you have information about that. Maybe not off the top of your head, however.
But we can look into that if there's interest.
I believe it's going to be free for the summer, but we should double check. But
yes.
From what I know, they don't really give any parking fines during the summer.
Okay, so we will certainly look into that. There is the participant survey that went out in the document on Monday. So there is a question to indicate if you think that you will be driving and having a vehicle on campus. So just go ahead and fill that out. So Madeline has a question I see. How should we proceed on flights exceeding $500? So you will most likely need to have your flight authorized by Quasi. And so to do that, you would basically send documentation of the flight to the Quasi business manager before you book that flight. So the general rule is airfares under $500, you can just go ahead and book them. However, over $500 is going to need special approval. So instructions about how to do that will be included in the travel authorization form. Okay, so as mentioned, we are going to be providing shuttles from Birmingham Shuttlesworth Airport in Birmingham, Alabama, to take you from the airport to the campus, to the University of Alabama campus. So the first round of shuttles is going to depart on Sunday, May 31st, so that you can kind of get checked into your room, before the 8 a.m. start time or 8:30 a.m. start time on June 1st. So the target times for those shuttles right now are 12 p.m. and 3:30 p.m. So if you can try to book your travel times or your flight arrival times around those shuttle times, the shuttle departure times, that would be helpful. And we will put a schedule together and assign you to a shuttle as the date gets closer. We understand that international travelers may not be able to get in on a flight before 3:30 p.m. So just, probably email me and we can work that out. Okay, I see some questions coming in here. Let's see. So a question from BYU, is the $500 for one-way tickets or for round trip? That is for round trip. Solomon, I did get your email this morning. I will email you back this afternoon and address your question specifically. Let's see. So Caleb, let's circle back to your question about project formation after we get through some of this logistical stuff. As far as departure goes, we're going to provide shuttles from the University of Alabama campus back to the Birmingham airport. So for the visiting scholars that will be leaving after the 2-week boot camp time, we are planning on those shuttles to depart at 9 o'clock a.m. from campus. So that would give you time to check out of your dorm, kind of get your things all together, check out of the dorm, and then get on the shuttle. Again, it's about an hour to the airport, I would say. So just keep that in mind when you're making your flight reservations. For visiting scholars, you will be issued another travel authorization for the capstone in July, pending an abstract submission about the work that you've been doing for the Summer Institute. So don't make your second trip flight reservations at this time. You'll get another travel authorization for that trip. And then following the completion of the capstone event, there will be a shuttle on Saturday, July 18th, for the fellows and the resident scholars to go back to the airport. And again, it'll be departing at approximately 9 o'clock in the morning, and you'll need to check out of your dorm, turn your keys in, that sort of thing, and get on the shuttle and go to the airport. So if you can please try to coordinate your travel plans with the shuttle schedule, that would be best. So any questions, or anyone have anything they want to add to the shuttle discussion?
What should we do if our flight is delayed? So I guess my answer to that would be I will be around that whole weekend and, for the whole institute. So I can give my cell phone number to everyone who's coming in, and if your flight is delayed, you can let me know, and I will come and get you if necessary. I won't let anyone be stranded in Birmingham.
Thank you, Sarah. We are going to try to, we understand that flight delays happen, so we will kind of make a contingency plan so that if anyone gets stuck coming in a little bit later, and again, for maybe the students that are coming in internationally, we might have kind of a reserve shuttle that makes one final round for anyone that got delayed. But I guess the most important thing to do is going to be to keep us kind of updated on those types of things. If, as soon as you know your flight's delayed, let us know so that we can be aware and try to work that out. Let's see. So Solomon has a question. Can we make a Facebook group for participants to get a preliminary introduction and plan road trips to NFIE or back? That's a good idea. That's something that we could kind of think about. Getting kind of a group space together might not be a bad idea, and would be pretty easy to set up. So thanks, Solomon, for that idea. I've also seen groups on LinkedIn, so that's another option as well. Okay, so action cards. You will be issued an action card from the University of Alabama. This is going to give you access to your meal plan, the Student Recreation Center, and actually housing. I think will, for summer participants, you're not going to have access to the dorms through your action card. You'll have another, they call it a fob key. But the action card is definitely important. You're going to want to hang on to that. And so in the document, we did provide instructions about information that's needed for the action card. So the University of Alabama will need you to email a photo to this jcannon@fa.ua.edu. And it needs to meet the standards, certain standards provided by the University of Alabama. So there's a website, and that link was provided in the document that went out as well. But it's basically saying it needs to be a headshot of yourself against a neutral background. You can't be wearing a hat or anything that obstructs your face, no other people in the photo, that type of thing. And then send your photos to that email address with the subject line of NFIE Summer Institute participant. So you can go ahead and start getting those photos in as soon as possible. And I see Bradford Bates, for current University of Alabama students, will all these features be applied to our existing cards? So features such as meal plans and that sort of thing. I believe so. We will.
Yeah, we can give a Bama cash card to University of Alabama participants, which would allow them to access the meal plan. I'm not sure if that would be a separate card or if it would just be points that are loaded onto the current card, but yeah, that's definitely possible to do.
Okay. Just making a note of that to follow up on that, because we do have quite a few people from the University of Alabama that will be participating.
Roll Tide!
What was that?
Oh, you said Roll Tide.
Oh, okay. So housing. So the NFIE participants are going to be housed in the Ridgecrest East building. I am told that this is one of the newer and nicer dorms on campus. So some of my U of A folks can maybe attest to that.
I've never been in any of the dorms, but that's a nice one, so.
Yes, I've heard good things about this building. So you will be housed in suite-style rooms, 4 rooms and 2 bathrooms. There is a link in that document if you want to check out more information about the dorm that you'll be staying in. But you can see a photo of the entryway and then a photo of kind of the general layout. So the dorms also have kind of like a sitting area and a kitchenette. On the website, it does give a list of the furniture that's included in each dorm. So you get like a bed, a desk, a couch, a couple chairs, that type of thing. So if you're curious about that, go ahead on that website and check out the specific room information. So tentatively, we would like to schedule checkout on Sunday, May 31st from 1 to 5 p.m. Again, we will make exceptions for people that know that they're going to be getting in late. If you are not able to arrive within this time, if you have kind of a special circumstance, please contact me to let me know. We will assign rooms prior to your arrival, and we will use some of the information in that participant survey to set up our rooming list. So please fill out the participant survey and provide us with the logistical information we need to set up lodging arrangements. In order to check into the dorm and pick up your action card, you will need to show an official ID, so like a government-issued ID, such as a driver's license or a passport, so that we can make sure you are who you say you are, basically. For University of Alabama participants, please let us know if you are not providing your own housing, and we should add you to the rooming list for housing within the dorm. So again, just a couple of room details to point out. The bed size, it's a twin extra long bed. So you should bring your own pillows and linens, and they would need to be twin extra longs to fit on the bed. Each room has an in-room kitchenette, which contains, like a sink, a microwave, a refrigerator. There is no oven or stove in the room, but there is community kitchens, or a community kitchen located on the floor that the NFIE participants will be on, I believe. And we are planning to buy like a basic kitchen utensil set, so some pots and pans and things like that that can stay in the community kitchen for NFIE participant use. So you can do some cooking if you would like to. You have a bathroom in your room, but you will be responsible for cleaning it, so you'll have to, pick up cleaning supplies if you'd like to do that. There's laundry in the dorm that take coins. They also take Bama cash, which can be loaded onto your action cards. And you'll have wireless internet in your dorm. Anyone have anything else to add on that? Sarah, maybe?
No, I think that's it.
Well, just one other thing. The reason for all the requirements for the action card is the action card is a legal state of Alabama ID card. So if you choose to vote in Alabama, feel free to do so. Feel free to do it the Alabama way, which is vote frequently and vote often.
Okay, so the action card is a legal form of ID, so that is why we need to officially kind of verify identity, which will be done at check-in. So meals for the Summer Institute, as part of the award for the NFIE, a meal block will be provided to cover meals Monday through Friday while the dining hall is open. So the dining halls have a somewhat limited schedule over the summer where they are not open on the weekends. So because of that, we are going to load Bama Cash onto your action cards in an amount that is equal to the per diem on the days when the dining hall is going to be closed. So basically what that means is when you're on campus for the 7-week period, you will have cash that you can spend to purchase meals using your action card. So it'll be kind of, you'll swipe your card to make a purchase. You can check out the locations where the Bama Cash can be used. Again, that link is provided in the document that was sent around. There is a Publix grocery store within walking distance of campus, and they are listed as a location that accepts Bama Cash. So you could go to the grocery store and use your card to purchase food, to cook up, for the weekends. There are other different retail locations. However, the schedules may be different over the summer, so it's just, something to consider. Okay, the Student Recreation Center, as part of the award for being a NFIE participant, the cost to access the Student Recreation Center will be covered. So this includes access to fitness equipment, group classes, the outdoor pool, so that's nice. You can visit the Student Recreation Center website to learn more. I did send out some forms for the Student Recreation Center that would need to be filled out. So you can fill those out and return them to me so that we can get your kind of membership to the Recreation Center set up. And the access will be loaded onto the action cards, is what I've been told. So if you have any questions about those forms, you can contact me directly. Okay, some things to bring. You must provide your own laptop that is capable of running Windows software and has enough disk space to create a Linux virtual machine. So we are not going to be providing laptops or computers for NFIE participant use. You will need to bring your own pillows and bedding for a twin XL size bed, and you will need to bring your own towels, so bath towels, hand towels, dish towels, whatever kind of towels you want. Also, bring clothing that's suitable for field work because, as Fernando mentioned, occasional field trips may be taken to collect data in the field. So that includes appropriate clothing for field work, including shoes and hats, things like that. It will be pretty hot in Alabama in June through July, so keep that in mind as well. Obviously, bring anything else that is going to make you comfortable for a 7-week stay in Alabama. And if any other required items come to our attention, we'll be sure to let you know in advance.
Emily, it may be a good idea to bring something to actually go into the water. So sandals, actually sometimes not as good, but better than nothing, or just water shoes.
Yeah, like Keens or Tevas, those kinds of water shoes are really good because they have like a non-slip sole. So if we're going into the river, those are the safest ones to wear.
So water shoes or like sandals that strap onto your feet, that type of thing?
Not flip-flops.
Right. Yeah, so that is a good point. And again, your Student Recreation Center membership gets you into the outdoor pool, so you might want to pack a bathing suit. I don't know.
And that would be good.
Yeah.
What's that?
Mosquito repellent and sunscreen for the field.
We can provide some of that stuff too, but...
Yeah, that's true. So that is all I have at the moment. There will be additional information kind of rolling out as we get it in, as we get closer to the Summer Institute. Does anyone have any questions at this time, or do any of the course coordinators have anything else they'd like to add?
Hey, Emily, this is
Yeah.
Joseph.
Hi, Joseph.
I was just going to throw this out here as well. I told Fernando this, and I was kind of joking, but I'm a gym rat, and I'm usually at the gym at about 5:30 in the morning. So if anybody's crazy enough and wants to get a group together among the participants, then I'm more than willing to organize that too.
So we'll have fitness with Joseph.
We should add it to the curriculum this summer.
Thank you for offering that. That's a good idea. And maybe if we do get kind of like a group social site up and running for the NFIE, that's something that you can post on there as well. That would be pretty cool, actually.
It's empty in there, so we'll have it all to ourselves.
Great.
Whatever y'all want to do.
Yeah, that sounds like a good opportunity. Go ahead.
I said team building.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have there's a question from El Sudani. Which Linux distribution do we need? What software products are we going to use? Because I have Ubuntu installed, and I know things like Python will have different requirements when adding libraries and things like that. Can someone answer that question?
Ashley, could you unmute maybe the BYU team?
Sure. Hi, BYU team.
Hi, I think we can answer that. We're just trying to figure out how.
You're on. You're live.
So we will be providing the Linux distribution in one way or another, but Ubuntu is what we work with primarily. So if you have Ubuntu, that's good. We're using 14, one of the versions of 14 right now. Yeah. 1404. 1404 or 1410 is out too. So, yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Looks like it did. Great. Thank you.
Does anyone have an issue with that don't have a laptop or can't get a laptop? Also, probably best to let us know as soon as possible. Maybe we can do something about that.
Okay, so let us know if anyone does have an issue with that. Let's see. So Kevin Smith is asking, will visiting scholars also be placed on the teams?
Yeah, and the answer to that would be yes, as long as it makes complete sense. But I think we should try to integrate the visiting scholars as best as possible with the teams that will be local. So yes, I expect visiting scholars to be part of teams, and then hopefully the project teams over the course of the boot camp, everyone can figure out how best to distribute tasks. And again, I mean, you'll probably need to have regular calls, especially within the weeks right after the boot camp, to make sure you guys are all on the same page. I know it'll be a challenge for the people that aren't there in Tuscaloosa, but we would like to try and keep you all integrated as best as possible. So.
Okay, great. So Solomon says that he made a Facebook group. And can he share it? So yeah, you can share it here if you want. You can send it to me directly. That could be kind of cool if the NFIE participants are kind of leading that effort. Up to you. Marcelo asks, how much participation will require for the visiting scholars since we need to go back to our regular activities?
Well, I would say that the expectation in terms of output from the visiting scholars versus the resident scholars and the resident fellows is pretty similar. I think the hope is that regardless of where you are physically, that your contribution to the overall project be similar. The participation in the capstone, the outcome as well, the work product of the teams at the capstone event is going to be the same regardless of whether the individual participants are fellows, scholars, or resident or remote. Is that a fair statement? Does that jive with everybody else on the call?
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think in this day and age, the ability to communicate via video, Skype or link or any other medium, I think is going to make participation and engagement as seamless as possible. Even if you don't have conference capability at your laptop, both on the UA campus and at the National Water Center and hopefully at your home institution, you should be able to connect both in real time and asynchronously via Facebook, LinkedIn, email, and so on. So hopefully this will be a very, very engaged experience for everybody.
Okay, great, thanks. So Timothy Lammers had a question. I am bringing a Mac laptop with VMware Fusion 7. It has Windows 7 installed. Can I load the Linux virtual PCs through VMware, or will I need to load the virtual Linux machine on my virtual Windows machine? And I think the BYU team wrote back to Timothy that said VMware Fusion will be fine. You can use VMware to install Ubuntu virtual machine directly. So Timothy, let us know if that's substantial, if you have further questions on that. Let's see. Oh, so Caleb, I did not forget about you, but Caleb is asking, how are we going to deal with projects proposed by visiting scholars that do receive a lot of interest from participants?
Yes, I don't think that'll be an issue. I mean, during the course of the 2 weeks in the boot camp, I mean, y'all will all figure out within your project teams how best to distribute tasks. So I don't think that'll be an issue. Again, we expect you guys to communicate regularly through email or phone or however is best suited for you guys. So you guys all will have a common goal. So I think it'll work out fine.
Oh, okay. So projects that do not receive a lot of interest, I guess, is what the question meant to say.
Well, I would say that the whole hope of the boot camp is to kind of merge the individual project ideas into something that is kind of a sum of the whole. And so the teams that are formed should hopefully represent a merging of the ideas that the individuals come with, and ideas that are not popular as it were, are things. I think that's the hope is that during that 2-week boot camp process, that there's enough back and forth between the participants that either ideas get traction or evolve to be something that everybody on the teams or the teams morph into something where everybody gets puts into the team output in as much as they get out of it.
Yeah, and we'll help facilitate, those interactions with group discussions. But yeah, it might not be exactly what you originally proposed, but hopefully we can still cover everyone's interests while still meeting common goals.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let's see. So Kevin Smith, looks like your question may have been answered. Let me know if you need clarification. Morteza asks, how is the transportation in the city from the dorm to the place of work and going around? Is there any bus services, and can we use the bus for free with our card? So as far as getting between the dorms and the working space for working with the NFIE, that's all within walking distance. For bus service, Sarah or Andy, do you know anything about bus service going around the city?
Well, there's a bus that goes around campus, and there's also a bus that goes between campus and downtown, and you can ride that with your action card. I'm not sure what the summer schedule is, so we should look into that.
But there are also retail locations that are within walking distance of the campus as well, correct?
Yes, there's a lot of restaurants and coffee shops and that kind of thing right on campus, right adjacent to campus. And actually downtown isn't that far either. I actually live downtown and I walk to campus every day. It's about a half-hour walk. So
okay.
you can get around between downtown and campus.
Okay, great. So we will also find out about the bus schedule and see if we can find those.
Pepper says you can rent bikes too.
Do you know if there's a bike rental program?
Brad would know.
I think there is. I think Brad's about to answer.
What's that?
I think there is, and Brad is typing, so I think he's answering that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, outdoor recreation at UA.
So that could be an option as well to get around via bike.
Yeah, you can rent them on a monthly basis.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Thank you, Brad. Okay.
Oh, and it looks like Leon, sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, just posted the bus schedule.
Perfect. Now, would this shuttle change during the summer? It's possible, I guess, correct?
I believe the last time I talked to the shuttle folks, there is service downtown, and I think it's at least once a week that they have very focused trips to kids that are staying on, people that are staying on campus to downtown. So if you're not up for the 30-minute walk downtown, they will take you not only downtown but also to the mall and to other shopping areas on campus. I mean, in town. So I know there is service. I think it may be once a week or so.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Okay, so that's all the information I have to present, and we are just about at an hour. Let's see, so does anyone else have any other questions or information they want to add? Looks like Bradford is typing. And Morteza raised a hand. Does that mean you have a question? But definitely feel free to contact me directly. I'll put my email into the chat box if you do have any questions. And travel authorizations. Oops, sorry. This is my email. I stuck my middle initial in there. If you do have any questions after the travel authorizations come out, you can contact me. You can contact the quasi-business manager. Her name is Melissa, and she will probably be the best person to answer specific travel questions. Let's see. Solomon created a Facebook group for NFIE participants. So I'm going to go ahead and share the link for that if you kind of want to collaborate amongst yourselves. That's a great idea. I support that idea. So I will get that out to everyone else that was not on the call today. This presentation was recorded in case any of your friends or colleagues missed the presentation. It's going to be posted to the Quasi website. And I will update the NFIE page on the Quasi website with participant information as well. So thank you so much for joining today. There we go. There's the NFIE link. And do feel free to contact me directly with any questions or suggestions. I see some stuff coming through about the bikes and about the shuttles. So that's great too if anyone has information like that and they want to pass that along. So with that, that's all I have. Course coordinators, anything on your end?
No.
Thanks, Emily.
Yeah, thank you all so much for joining. I think hopefully this was helpful. So have a great afternoon, and look for your travel authorizations to come out next week.